Because jiu-jitsu is a meritocracy, there is a universal desire to represent your belt perfectly. If you're a blue belt, you want to tap all the white belts. If you're a purple belt, you want to tap all the blue belts and below. But this is not realistic. For one thing, people come in all different sizes, and size matters. We pretend that it doesn't matter in jiu-jitsu, and in fact, the way that jiu-jitsu is marketed is that it's an art that lets the smaller, weaker guy defeat the bigger, stronger guy. And yeah, of course, if they don't know jiu-jitsu and you're really good at jiu-jitsu, even though you're smaller and weaker, yeah, of course, that's a great equalizer. But the truth is, size matters, strength matters. And for those of us that are older in jiu-jitsu, you're in your 40s, you're in your 50s or beyond, age matters tremendously. And if you compare yourself constantly to your training partners who are much younger than you, they're bigger, stronger, younger, faster, all the things, then you're probably not going to last in jiu-jitsu very long, because it's going to be a miserable way to experience this art. So let's talk about it. The inspiration for today's video came from the fact that I've run 2 jiu-jitsu retreats within the last few weeks. The first one was Old Grappler Summit down here in San Diego. We had about 40 people on the mat who came from all over the United States, Canada, even Europe. We had a guy from the Netherlands come down, which was just mind-blowing, and really, really great time. In fact, we've just about run out of space at our current training facility, and so that's prompted me to scale this thing up, and we are about to announce the next Old Grappler Summit is going to be an all-inclusive event at a beautiful retreat center with multiple instructors. I'm bringing in more instructors than just me this time, and I can't wait to announce that, so be looking for that. I should be ready to announce that here real soon. And the second event that I did was Grappler's Retreat up in Northern California in Mendocino, which is this picturesque little town, so amazing. And Grappler's Retreat is top-notch. It's one of the premier all-inclusive retreats in the world. Highly recommended. I'll be back there next year to run another camp, and every time I go up there, I leave there just blown away at what an incredible experience that was. And so I got a chance to train with like 60 guys over the age of 40, 45, 50. I mean, we had some people in their 70s come out to train. There was a woman named Mary. Shout out to Mary. She is a 3-stripe white belt at 70 years old. And we had a guy named Larry come to Grappler's Retreat who's 70, and he's a purple belt. And so you're seeing the demographic in jiu-jitsu get older. Not only are practitioners that have been doing it for a while getting older, but we are seeing people discovering jiu-jitsu at a much older age now. Jiu-jitsu truly is for everybody. I believe that. I honestly believe that. If you can train in an environment that's supportive, where guys aren't trying to tear your head off, you can be an older athlete and continue to do jiu-jitsu. But one of the themes that I heard from all of these over 40 practitioners was what a joy it was to be in a room full of people their age, because it gave them a much, much better gauge, a much better metric for how skilled they are in jiu-jitsu. Because if you're 45, 48, 50 years old, and the average age at your school is 36. Now, I don't know what the average age universally is out there in jiu-jitsu. I suspect it's probably mid-30s, just subjectively. That's what I generally observe. Probably mid-30s is the most common age. When I was running my school in Wyoming, because it was a college town, my average age was like 22, 23. So sometimes you get these, environments that the age is really skewed in one direction or another. And some academies tend to be a little older, but those are more rare. And so if you're an average guy, middle-aged person, training mostly with 30-something-year-olds, there's a 10, 15, 20, 30, sometimes 40-year age difference between you and your training partners. Well, you're not going to have a really good way to gauge how good you are in jiu-jitsu because everything gets harder as you get older. You get slower. Your reaction time gets slower. Your resilience is not there. Your recovery is harder. It's a real thing. The Gracies have this concept called the Boyd belts. And under their theory, and I think there's something to it, for every 10 years of difference between you and your training partner, that represents one belt of skill. So in other words, if you're a blue belt and you're 40 and you're sparring against a 30-year-old blue belt because there's a 10-year difference, that's like sparring with a 40-year-old purple belt. And this is, we can argue whether 10 years should be the metric or 15 or 12, but I think there's something really to that. I was sparring last night at the Clark Gracie Academy. I sparred probably 8 rounds, maybe 9 rounds against black belts, brown belts, a purple belt, a couple purple belts, a couple blue belts, and 1 white belt. And I can tell you that you're just not going to get the tap as much. It's harder. Your effectiveness is going to be less in a room full of guys that are younger than you. I sparred against this white belt. And usually with white belts, what I tell them is, what's your best position? Let's start there. I do that all the time. And this particular white belt, I said, what's your favorite position? And he said, wrestling. And I said, bro, I'm not going to wrestle with you, because he was bigger, stronger, in his 20s, this kid. And I tapped him a couple times, but it came with some effort. It was not easy to tap this kid, even though I'm a black belt. I'm a seasoned black belt. I've been doing this for a while. And so jiu-jitsu is not this magic thing that's going to let you tap people with impunity unless all of the other attributes are equal. If you're the same age, roughly the same size. I rolled with a big brown belt who's 20 pounds heavier than me yesterday. I had him on the run for a little while. He had me on the run for a while, and we ended in a stalemate. And that's the kind of experience you have, whereas on paper, as a black belt, I should be able to tap this guy. And sure enough, if he was my age, if he was my size, no doubt I would have been able to tap him probably multiple times. And so we don't have the ability to gauge our skill accurately when we're in a room with people that are younger than us. And so the best thing you can do if you're an older athlete, and this is actually true of any age, is lower your expectations. In fact, do not place expectations on yourself, expectations of result. Do not place expectations of result on yourself. You can certainly place expectations of things that you can control. I can control my attitude. I can control whether I show up to jiu-jitsu on time. I can control whether I'm a positive training partner. I can control a lot. I can control how much effort I put into training. What I only have partial control over is the actual result. And if you want to be miserable in jiu-jitsu, place an unrealistic expectation on yourself. I'm a purple belt. I should be able to tap everybody blue belt and below, right? That is an unrealistic expectation, again, especially if you're older. And so what you need to do is recalibrate what success means. If there's a training partner that you have that always gets the best of you, well, maybe success means it took them longer to tap you than last time. So recalibrate, find ways to be successful, and leave the academy looking for those things that you did well. I didn't get tapped as fast. Hey, that guy that normally smashes me in side control, this time I was able to hold him at bay a little longer. Oh, that technique that I like to finish people with, it worked really good tonight, right? Find those things that you can take in which you did well and use those to fuel positive growth and positive development. Don't expect that you're going to represent your belt perfectly. That's just unrealistic for everybody, including black belts. And so that's really my message today. And that message came from all the guys I talked to. Man, it was so incredible. I heard so many stories, including stories from older athletes that watch my content. And in a couple cases, they said, hey, I was on the verge of quitting jiu-jitsu. I was ready to hang it up. I was having a miserable time, but then I started watching your content and it recalibrated my perspective, and now I'm back in it and I'm having more fun than ever. And so I appreciate that. I stare into a camera talking to YouTube, and I get comments on the YouTube videos and they're just random people that I don't even know. But when you're standing face to face with someone and you hear those stories of how you've been able to change their life a little bit and make their journey a little better, it really means a lot. And I appreciate that. But again, mostly being in a room full of older guys made me appreciate my own level, my own technique, because it's easier. Again, I'm a black belt. I'm tough against just about everybody. But when I'm in a room against guys that are 45, 50, 60 years old, oh man, it is so much easier than the struggles I go through normally in a room full of killers that are 35 years old. So keep that perspective. And I'm curious from you guys, if you're an older athlete and maybe you're one of the only ones at your school, tell me about that down below in the comments. And if you are one of the only older athletes in your academy, know that you have friends out there. Maybe go to a jiu-jitsu retreat and full of like-minded individuals so that you can realize that you're not alone in this journey. And all those things that you're feeling, those are really common. Everybody experiences those feelings of inadequacy as you get older and you're trying to do this beautiful art against people that are much younger than you. All right, I'll see you next time.